Hello there, I'm Nathalia Melo, your unfiltered fit BFF, mom of two turned CEO of a fitness empire. Someone who understands the struggles of trying to stay fit, sane, and sexy, all while juggling work, life, and motherhood. And this is the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. Follow along wherever you're listening and join me weekly as I help busy working moms just like you simplify their fitness journey so they can lose weight, regain their confidence, and feel sexy AF. It's time to stop living in the what ifs and hiding from the cameras. It's time to regain control over your body, feel sexy naked, and wear a bikini confidently. People already see you as a super confident woman, but it's time for you to feel the same way too. Let's go. Hello there, fam. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. I'm Nathalia Melo, your host. And the topic of today's conversation is a topic that I have come to realize that it can be controversial for some. And honestly, I don't understand why. Because what we're going to be talking about is the topic of outsourcing. The idea of outsourcing to free up time on your schedule so you can focus on the things that really move the needle and not burn yourself out. For context, this has not been something that I have always been open to. I always thought that outsourcing things were a waste of money and that why the hell am I going to hire somebody to do something if I can just, try to do it myself. And it wasn't until I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine, Kim Constable. She has 4 kids and she runs a very successful fitness business, all while homeschooling her kids and doing all the things. And she was a big mentor to me as I started to create my business as it is now. And one thing that I started to realize, it's that every time that I had a conversation with her regarding how she was being successful and what she was doing, the conversation always came back to the fact that she was outsourcing a number of things to free up time so she could focus on the needle moving things of her life. So I started to become very curious. So she started to tell me how in her business, she was outsourcing the VA work, like virtual assistant, to schedule emails and to do things. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you can do that? And in her house, she told me something that I'll never forget. She said, I don't want to outsource the taking care of my kids part of my life. And I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly how she said, but that's the idea behind of what she told me. She's like, I cannot outsource being a mother to my children. She has 4. But I can outsource the activities around keeping a house running so that whenever I do have free time, I can focus on my kids and be a parent to my kids. And that was really a big turning moment for me to look at outsourcing not as a waste of money or an expense, but more as of an investment to buy my time back. Because ultimately, that's what I find that most successful people have that is different from what those who are not successful have, is an understanding of the worth of their time. They value time more than they value money. Even when they don't have a lot of money, they are still able to do the math and see what it makes sense on a sense of, if it costs me, let's say, $12, $15 to pay somebody to do X activity for me, and my time is worth $50 an hour, wouldn't it be best to focus on the thing that I'm good at and that I earn $50 an hour so I can pay somebody the activity that I might not even enjoy, that is going to allow me to free up more time so I can focus on spending time with the people that I love? And my wheels started to spin. And, I would say that thanks to that conversation that I had with Kim a long time ago, several times actually, there have been some paramount things that I have incorporated into my life that I outsource now that have made a world of a difference, in that I truly believe that it can make a difference in your life too. So today I'm going to be sharing the things that I outsource in my life and that I believe that would make your life a lot easier. Whenever you put, pen to paper and do the math, you're going to start to understand that it might make sense for you to outsource some activities just because you're going to be buying back time and you're not going to be as burnout and you're not going to feel like you're spreading yourself thin, because that's how I was feeling for a long time. I felt like I was spreading myself thin because I was trying to do all the things and I wasn't spending enough time in my business. I wasn't spending enough time with my family. I wasn't spending enough time with my husband, with my kids. But then I didn't feel like I was doing everything else well either. So I'm going to start listing the things that I personally outsource that I truly believe that are going to be beneficial to you to outsource as well. And I am going to walk you through the numbers on some of these outsourcing strategies so you can see how it makes sense. The first thing for me is house cleaning services. I love the ladies that clean our house. They are amazing. And this is something that I have been doing for a while. Initially, whenever we moved to the US from Northern Ireland, it was hard because we spent a lot of money to move to the US and we had 2 small kids. So it's not that we had a whole bunch of money to be throwing at house cleaning, but I was the primary caretaker of our 2 small kids. And then I started to do the math. At the time, the cleaner that we had used to charge $130 per cleaning off the house. And initially we had her come every 3 weeks. So every 3 weeks she would come and spend it depended. She was very meticulous and sometimes she didn't work super, super fast, but because she had a very big attention to detail. So I didn't really care how much time she spent cleaning. So she charged us $130. So let's round it up that she spent 6 hours just for the sake of argument as a medium. And this was 6 years ago, okay? So 130 divided by 6. So we're talking about $21 per hour, give and take. And by doing that, she was freeing up my time so I didn't have to spend my Sundays cleaning up bathrooms and not being able to spend much time with my kids. And during the week, obviously 3 weeks, there was still some top up that I needed to do, but I didn't need to go into any kind of deep cleaning because I knew she was coming at the 3-week mark. And then whenever I did the math, I'm like, okay, it takes me a lot more than 6 hours to do a true deep cleaning. And I know that the idea of deep cleaning for some people is like, oh, it can be done in 3 hours. The deep cleaning that I do, it's not how it works. I'll be literally with a toothbrush scrubbing around the faucets with bleach. So I can get wild with my deep cleaning. That's the deep cleaning that I like to do. So it would take me longer than her. And oftentimes I didn't do it as well as she did. And even if my time is worth, let's say, for example, at the time, $35 an hour, if I were to spend the same amount of time that she spent, 35 times 6, you'd be a $210 job opposed to $130 that I was paying her. So for that time, I could focus either on working because my ROI for my time was bigger if I worked, or, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary, but if I could spend quality time with my family so that during the week I could really become more focused on doing work piece of my business, I wouldn't have that guilty feeling that, oh my God, I already spent all the weekend cleaning the house and not with my family. And now during the week, I'm focusing on my business and I'm also not spending time with my family. So you see? So the first thing that I did outsource was the house cleaning. And then eventually it became every 2 weeks. And now we have somebody that comes every week. Obviously, prices have changed and length of time have changed because these numbers that I'm giving are, from 6 years ago, but it's just so you guys can have an idea, even whenever my business wasn't as big as it is now, how the math worked. And then the other thing that I find incredibly beneficial to outsource that I do as well is meal prep. The one that I use is Icon Meals. And what I started to see was that the meal that I normally kind of caved or cracked if I wasn't prepared was lunch. So if I didn't have my lunch ready, I would end up just snacking on things from the pantry. And you would kind of derail me from my fitness goals because I would just kind of grab and go whatever was available and I would feel like a failure. And it was normally lunch. Lunch kind of like dictated how the rest of my day was going to be. Like if I had 2 croissants for lunch, I knew that like it had gone downhill from there. So I knew that I had to fix at least my lunch, because if I had something that was more aligned with my goals and that it was easy and simple for me to eat as I was working and as I was on my desk, I knew that I was going to stay on track with that. So I started with my lunches. And, for Icon meals, I pay about $12 per meal, give and take, which for many people is less than what they pay to grab lunch in a restaurant nearby where they work. So this is going to be a choice that is going to be, one, much more aligned with your goals. It's going to allow you to prepare and free up the mental drain that it can become whenever you don't know what you're going to eat. And it also keeps you on track with your goals and more focused and in control of your nutrition. So if we're talking about $12 per lunch, 5 times a week, that's $60. I can almost certainly guarantee that you're currently spending way more than that eating out because you are not prepared at work. And then you just kind of grab whatever or go to a nearby restaurant. So instead of spending $12 per lunch that is more aligned with your goals, you end up spending close to like 20, 25. And then instead of being 60, it becomes 125 per week. And I know that these numbers sound small, but I'm just trying to show you, even if you do have like money to splash and throw it at the wall, why would you go towards the meal that is not going to be aligned with your goal when you can have something like this that is already prepared for you, and it ends up being a much more cost-efficient way of doing it. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that is an option is to hire somebody like once a week to come and do your meal prep for the week. There are services, I know for a fact in the US that there are services like that. A lot of my clients, a lot of our members, like if they have nannies at home, they ask their nannies to stay for an additional like few hours and ask them to prepare their meals for them. And even if you're paying, I don't know, anywhere between $20 and $25 an hour to that person, let's put 25 just to be on the higher end of that number. If that person can do the meal prep in 3 hours, that's like $75 a week that you're going to be paying someone to free up how much time of your weekend. If you get paid more than $25 an hour and you don't want to do your meal prep on the weekend because you want to make sure that you're spending time with your family, it is absolutely a no-brainer to hire somebody or pay a little bit extra to a nanny that you have, or if you have a house cleaner that is good at cooking, give her a meal plan that you're following and ask her to cook that. Give her a little bit of instructions to not add a lot of oils and stuff like that because it can mess up your nutritional plan. But for $75, shit, I'm in. Like that is like an absolute no-brainer. And this is assuming like $25. And even if you go at $30, you're still talking about $90 per week to have somebody prepare you for success for the whole week. So that's another thing. We do not have somebody who comes to us to do that because, like, for example, we like to cook for dinner and stuff like that. So that is not a big problem for all meals. My biggest problem was the lunch. So for lunch, I just outsourced that by getting it from a meal prep company. So just see which one works best for you. Number 3, laundry. You guys, I cannot begin to tell you how much I despise laundry. I would rather clean toilets with a toothbrush than fold one load of laundry. That's like the level of dislike I have for laundry. Okay. And that's where you have to decide what are the activities that you do that drain you and suck the life out of you, that it makes sense for you to outsource and invest on. For me, laundry, first that I did was outsource the house cleaning, and then the meal prep because it was a lower hanging fruit because I could grab my meals from the gym that I go to and then I would buy for the week. And it was like a right price point. And then whenever it comes to like service, somebody that comes to my house and helps me and stuff like that, laundry was like that no-brainer. I always joked, I'm like, whenever I can, the first thing that I'm going to do is hire somebody to help me with laundry because words cannot describe how much I dislike it. And I'm pretty sure that I'm not alone with that. So I have somebody who comes and helps me with my laundry. She comes once a week and I pay her $120 per week, $110, 100. Let's settle for 115. I don't remember exactly. It's anywhere between 110 and 120. And she stays here for anywhere between 4 and 5 hours. So we're looking at $25 to $30 an hour. And she does all my laundry, all my kids' laundry, and puts them away. So she comes every Wednesday. I kind of leave the first load oftentimes already kind of running for her. So there is enough time to wash and dry everything. And then she puts everything away. So whenever I come, my closet, like all the clothes are folded. And this is for, let's settle for $115 just for the sake of argument. For $115, I have peace of mind because what I found was that whenever I was doing the laundry and I was folding and I was doing all of that, I was wasting a lot of time because all the clothes would end up in the basket. So my kids would be late for school because I couldn't find the matching pair of socks. I would be late to take them because I couldn't find the sports bra that matches with those shorts. And then I couldn't find my matching socks and I would not wear mismatched socks. So it really was a no-brainer for me to get that kind of help. That is kind of like what my rich life looks like, is having somebody help me with my laundry. For other people, it might be, going to fancy restaurants and every single weekend. I don't give a shit about going to fancy restaurants. I personally think they are a waste of money. So it is about finding what it is a priority for you and buying my time back so I can focus on the things that bring me joy and free up the mental space for me to focus on the things that actually move the needle. That for me was a no-brainer. A few places that you can find people to help you with that is local Facebook groups. Here in Texas, it's called a Mother's Helper. You can ask in local Facebook groups, like local mom groups, ask if there is anybody that offers their services as a Mother's Helper. And then you can go on care.com as well. You can find somebody there. I've found people until I found the lady that works with me now, Vanessa. She's a rock star. I adore her. Honestly, every time that I see her walking through the door, I want to give her a hug and a kiss. And I'm like, you're the best thing ever. I love you so much. So care.com, local Facebook groups, this is where you can find this kind of help. And an alternative option would be laundry services that they come and pick up at your door, or drop off laundry services. For me, that wouldn't work because for me, the biggest challenge is the putting it away. So I would probably come home with all the bags and you'd sit on the bag for like a week. So you wouldn't really solve my problem. So it's really about pinpoint your main problem is. And you're going to have to be very self-aware to see in which part of the process you are sucking. Like I sucked on the part of putting the laundry away. So I had no problem washing it, putting put timers on my phone to remind me to put it in the dryer and all that jazz. And then you'd be in the dryer and in the basket and you'd live to die there. So just understand what works for you or not. Another one that I use is grocery delivery. I don't use grocery delivery as often because like Roger doesn't mind, like he likes doing the grocery and he buys all the fancy stuff and stuff like that. For example, if I need to get a pajamas for some kind of event tomorrow for my kids' last minute spirit week, and the moms here are going to be like, yes, it normally happens at 7 p.m. the night before that you're reminded about it. Got you, boo. I use an app called Shipped, or you can use the Target app that they offer delivery. At least where we are, Target offers delivery. I am pretty sure that Uber Eats also offers delivery as well. So there are different apps that can help you with either grocery delivery on a weekly basis, We don't use it for the grocery per se on a weekly basis because, like I said, Roger does enjoy doing the groceries, and sometimes I want to get away, and that is, it's not so much of a chore. It's more of a like, oh, time away, and I get to listen to a podcast and things like that. But it does become very handy for me for last minute stuff. Like, for example, if I'm going to do the snacks for the kids' soccer game Saturday and I don't have time to go to Target, so I'll just order a lot of the snacks on the Target app, or I'll use Shipped because it does a few different grocery stores around me, and I don't even have to leave my house. It does cost a little bit more, but like the additional cost that it is, it's so minimum compared to me driving all the way to Target, finding all the things and coming back home, that I'll do this any day of the week. So this is a possibility for you to get help, even if not so on a weekly basis, but for those last minute things that a lot of times mom with the last minute stuff that schools kind of let us know about, or maybe it's just me that I miss the emails and I just find out the night before because my kids tell me. I don't know, maybe I am the problem. But anyway, I need to solve my problem. And the solution to my problem is to have those apps to help me facilitate my life and speed up, and not like I don't have to get in my car because that's an hour of my day. Like the hour of my day is worth, I don't know, anywhere between $50 and $75 at least. It doesn't make sense for me to go there if I can pay somebody $5 to do that for me. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. And then last but not least, you guys are going to be surprised by this, that it is something that I do. I do this and I am an expert in this, which the fifth thing that you should most definitely outsource is your fitness. Because here's the thing, it kind of goes back to the conversation that we were having in the beginning of this podcast. In order to be successful, you have to value time more than you value money. Obviously, that valuation of how much your time is worth is going to depend on where on the scale you are. But your time is going to be the resource that you cannot take back. You can always make more money. You know, you get a side gig, you ask for a raise, you do overtime. There's always a way to get more money, but you can never get more time. And I outsource my fitness, meaning I have a coach. Even though I am an expert, I help people get fit. And the fact that I hire a fitness coach is because, one, I don't want to think about it. I spend my whole day making decisions in my house, in my 3 businesses, for my kids, doctor's appointment, what activities are they going to do. There are a lot of decisions. And I quite honestly don't want to be deciding whether I'm going to do 4 or 5 rounds or sets of like extensions. Like, I do not want to do that. And I want to fast track my success. Why? Because I don't want to waste fucking time. So what I see a lot of times is people that have been saying that they want to change and they're trying to figure it out on their own for the past 5-10 years. And they are still in the same place, if not worse, that they were 5-10 years ago. And the amount of opportunities and moments that they have missed out in life because they don't feel comfortable in their bodies, because they feel like they're stagnant, they feel they are at a standstill, and sometimes they're still reluctant to get help. You're wasting time. Because if you have been stuck, let's do a quick math here, because data, like if you look at number, it's ultimately going to be data. So let's do a quick math here. And this is like low level kind of stuff. All right. Most women that I speak to have been struggling to get their shit together with their fitness for at least 5 years. I will hear, oh, it's been going on for decades. Let's use 5 just for the sake of argument. And here's what I'm talking about: valuing time and investing in buying back quality of life on the time that you have. So life expectancy in the US is 77 years old. Okay. So let's assume that out of your 77 years on this earth, you struggle with your body image and your trying, like spinning your wheels and walking around in circles just for 5 of those years. And this is counting from the day you're born to, 77, which is the average life expectancy in the United States. The 5 years that you have kind of like being spinning your wheels, being frustrated and not feeling your best and probably passing on social interactions and impacting your social life, that is 6.5% of your entire life. So you just, quote, wasted, end quote, 6.5% of your life trying to solve a problem that you could have outsourced help to help you with, and reduce that time from 5 years to maybe 6 months or a year. Okay? And this is assuming from the day you were born to the day you're no longer here, assuming that it is the 77 years life expectancy. So let's do a different math now, because most people don't really struggle this badly with their body image, like when they're children. It normally starts to get more rampant towards older age. So let's talk about maybe 30 years old, just to see the contrast and the difference. So from 30 to 77, imagine that that's where you struggle the most. That's where a lot of women are having kids, and that's where they see the biggest changes in their bodies and they're trying to figure it out on their own. So if we're looking from 30 to 77, that's 47 years. If you spend 5 of those years, at least, remember that normally is a lot more than that. If you spend 5 years trying to figure shit out on your own, instead of fast tracking your path to success because you don't want to outsource, oh, but it's a waste and blah, 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 you have just wasted 10.5% of your adult life trying to figure something out that you can get help for. Do you see like how it absolutely does not make sense to be holding on trying to do things that it might not be your field of expertise, or if you are doing it, you are not getting the results that you want and you're literally just wasting time. It does not make time to keep on going on that same cycle, because you're literally wasting anywhere between 6.5% and 10.5% of your entire life trying to figure something out that somebody else has the answer for, but you're reluctant because you want to, quote unquote, oh, I want to save money. I don't want to waste money. Yeah, you don't want to waste money, but you're wasting your life. You're wasting opportunities. You're wasting moments with your loved ones. You're wasting mental space. You're wasting energy. Like for me, it's the mental space. I do not have the mental space to be thinking and putting together my own thing. Not because I don't like it, but because I'm making decisions for everybody every single moment of my day. So I want to get to the gym and be told what to do. The end. Why? Because I value my time. I value my brain space. I value my energy. And I start to realize that that was taking a lot of energy out of me to show up for other things and other people in my life, because I was reluctant that I wanted to do that myself. So this is just something for you to keep in mind. And just to do a little quick recap on the 5 things that I personally outsource that I find that will likely completely change your life. And you have to do the math and see what your kind of rich life on the outsourcing front looks like, so that you can live your best life and feel your best and show up your best for those around you. So number 1 is house cleaning. Number 2 is meal prep. Number 3 is laundry. Number 4 is grocery delivery. And number 5 is going to be your fitness. And if you want help with your fitness journey, there is a link down below to see if you can work with us in the Powerhouse Academy. I am a fitness coach. I have a team of experts as well, with a counselor and a registered dietitian. And we would love the opportunity to discuss with you if we are the right fit for you, to simplify that process and take that load out of you. Again, this is a program by application only. So just because you're scheduling the call, it does not even mean that you are going to get in. We're very selective with the people that we work with. We want to work with success stories, not just be a coaching program that has a whole bunch of people just to dick swing around. Oh yeah, we have like 1,000 people right now, and not having the amount of success stories. So our goal is to have success stories. So if you want to see if we're a good fit, click the link in the show notes and then we can take it from there. So if not, I want to thank you for listening. I hope this episode has been helpful. I would appreciate very, very much if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening to. That's kind of your way of paying me back for giving you solutions to problems and giving actionable steps. I find that this today probably was very actionable. If not, listen, if you thought that this episode was shit, never mind. You can leave a review and tell that shit, but I would much rather appreciate if you could say that it was amazing, because then more people are going to see it and more people are going to see that these episodes are helping others and they're going to be more inclined to listen to. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. But let me ask you, what was your aha moment in today's episode? I would love to know. You can leave me a comment or voice message at the link in the show description. You can also follow me on Instagram and let me know what topics you want to hear more about or who I should have on the show. As for today, this is it for today, guys. I'll see you back next week for another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast.